I've been spending time in Reddit recently, trying to share some of my Japanese tea expertise to the community there. Reddit's a funny place, isn't it? Lots of people sharing lots of funny things and inaccurate information as well. So today I'm going to share some of the things I saw. Here are the 6 most cringiest matcha takes I've seen on Reddit. Hi, I'm Yuki, I'm founder of Tealife, and here we break down Japanese tea so you can become a Japanese tea expert. The first one is, when you mix your matcha with a bamboo whisk, you have to whisk in a W or an M motion, like that. That is an advisable way of whisking your matcha. However, it's not the only way you have to mix your matcha. There's several ways you can mix your matcha. In the first place, the reason why you're whisking your matcha using a bamboo whisk is so you can completely take the matcha powder and dilute it in the water. That's the main objective here. You don't want any kind of powder left in the matcha when you drink. As long as you can do that, you're fine. And then on top of that, if you want, you can have an extra layer of bubbles. So that would depend on the style of matcha you like. The reason why you would want to do a W or M motion like that is to try to create a very thick layer of foam. So that's the objective of that motion. However, to make that froth, you don't have to be W or M either. So as long as you can whisk up and down and then gradually slide it to the left and right to make sure you get all the corners of the matcha bowl, then it will still give you a very nice froth. And it'll be an easier movement. Especially for beginners, trying to start off with an M motion is actually very awkward and very difficult to do. So that's why I don't really advise people to start off with an M motion. Just go up and down. And if you can, slide it to the left and right. Yeah. Now, even this M and W motion, it's not something that's universally taught by all the tea schools. This depends on the tea school's circle of thought. So the W and M motion, this comes more from the Urasenke school style. And there's other school styles, like the Omotesenke school style, that would whisk it in a more circular motion. And the result will be very different. The Urasenke style will have a lot more froth, a lot more bubbles. The Omotesenke school style will be less bubbles. The bubbles will only cover part of the surface of the matcha. And these are both fine. It really depends on what you like. The amount of bubbles, they do have an impact to the taste of the matcha itself. So if you have a very thick layer of matcha, it does help cover lots of the matcha's weaknesses. However, it also reduces some of its strengths as well. So it will make the astringency and the bitterness reduce significantly. You won't be able to feel that much. So it makes it a lot more pleasant to drink. So that really works with lots of matcha. However, at the same time, it'll be harder to really taste the true notes and the true umami and the sweetness of the matcha as well. So personally, what I do is that depending on the matcha, I change how much froth I want on the matcha. So if it's a lower quality matcha, more astringency, more bitterness, definitely I'll have lots of foam. However, if it's a really good quality matcha, I would actually reduce the foam. So again, there's no one way to whisk the matcha. You can whisk the matcha whatever way you want. And especially if you're a beginner, I wouldn't advise you to do an M or a W motion because it's difficult. The second take is you cannot mix matcha with sugar and milk. I do see where this is coming from. And obviously this is a comment from someone who has a very strong stance as a matcha purist. And that's totally fine as well. However, I feel that it's okay to mix with sugar and milk. It's all right. Personally, I used to take a little bit more of a stronger stance on this. So I used to be more on the purist side. So I was like, no, you're going to waste the matcha if you're going to mix it with sugar and milk. Because it does reduce lots of the strength of the matcha. Even if it's a really good matcha, you're going to reduce the amount of umami and sweetness that you can feel because of the milk and sugar. And lots of the effort that the farmers put in, the manufacturers put in, is to preserve that umami and sweetness. So to think that you're mixing sugar and milk to like really dilute that, it felt like a waste. However, I realized that when you think about the way I drink coffee, I drink coffee in lattes, cappuccinos. I love them. And I think the coffee purist would be thinking the exact same thing, right? So I can't have it both ways. So I feel that you can drink it the way you want. It's all right. One thing I would say is that if you're trying to drink matcha for health benefit purposes, then adding sugar in milk does defeat the purpose, so you shouldn't do that. When you think about the health benefits of matcha, many of the health benefits are centered around the prevention of chronic diseases like obesity or liver diseases or heart diseases, stroke, and so on and so forth. So if you're drinking matcha, that's good, it's going to help those diseases. But if you're going to add sugar and milk to that, it's going to actually worsen those diseases. So that's why I say it defeats the purpose. But otherwise, it's however you want to enjoy it. If you like to mix with sugar and milk to enjoy the taste of matcha, that's fine as well. Take number 3 is if your matcha clumps together, then it's a low quality matcha. Now, unfortunately, this is not the case. Even if you have a really great quality matcha powder, it will clump together. Matcha powder is very fine and very uneven as well. So you have lots of different uneven sized particles, and because of static electricity and humidity and things like that, they will start to clump together. And that will happen to the best of the matcha as well. It's actually more about storage, humidity, and handling of the matcha more than anything. So how easily it clumps isn't really an indicator of the quality. Take number 4. You must sift your matcha every single time you make your matcha. Now, sifting does help. It reduces the clumps and it makes sure it's a lot easier for the matcha to mix with water. So it is an advisable thing to do. However, there are some, well, it's not really issues, but there's some drawbacks. So there's one more thing you have to wash, the sift, and the sift is kind of tedious to wash as well. And then it also adds some time to preparing the matcha. And at the same time, there are some workarounds as well. The best workaround is before you mix the matcha powder and the water, if you take a little bit of water and then pour it into the matcha powder and then create a matcha paste. If you can create a nice consistent matcha paste before you add the rest of the water, then you'll get a very nice consistent matcha. This is more effective than actually sifting the matcha powder, and then you don't have to wash the sift and you don't have to spend the additional time to do the sifting either. So this is a method that I do recommend. Take number 5. Matcha is originally from China. Now this is the Japanese part of me that's saying no to this, but I don't agree to this. If you're saying matcha is from China, it's almost like saying that American football is from UK because the roots of American football is rugby and soccer, and those are both from the UK. That's basically what you're saying here. Matcha is not from China because the form that came from China is very different from the matcha we have right now. Remember that historically matcha had died in China but survived in Japan. And the reason is because matcha evolved in Japan. The shading, the deveining, the stone milling, that all mattered. And right now we have a totally different drink that's very pleasant and is loved by everyone. I went really in depth into this topic in this recent video I did about matcha history in Japan, so you can take a look at this one if you're interested as well. Take number 6. This was the most shocking one, and it was so shocking that it made me ask around and also do a video on this as well. So those of you who follow the channel might have seen this video already, but it's okay to batch matcha for 3 days. It's a hard no to this one. Matcha oxidizes so quickly, and if you mix it with water, it's going to get even worse. The speed of oxidation is going to increase rapidly, and it's not going to last 3 days. Trust me, I did an experiment. Day 1 was alright, so the taste didn't really change within the first 24 hours. However, by the time it was 72 hours, it was a completely different drink. You can't really taste any of the notes anymore. The aroma vanishes, the sweetness umami reduces rapidly, and then instead you get the stringency and the bitterness, and it becomes really stale. So it kind of becomes really disgusting by the time it's 3 days. And on top of that, the color of the matcha is a dead giveaway. From a green, it turns to a brownish green, so you can really tell that it's been oxidized really quickly. Do not use batched matcha for 3 days. So there you have it. Those are the 6 most cringiest matcha takes I've seen on Reddit so far. Again, I'm new to Reddit, so I might see more and I might do another video on this soon. But let me know how you felt about this, and maybe I'll see you in Reddit as well.